Hello, welcome to this video for this spring dress or summer dress. The pattern I use is right here. I've sewn this pattern before. You can see the picture here. I had already made the pattern, so I didn't have any issues with that. The only issues I came across were with the tiered skirt, which I have never sewn a tiered skirt before. I did add the ruffles here and here because the dress I want to make is this one. That was my goal. I think I accomplished it. I didn't have enough fabric to do the ruffles on each tier, but I think it looks fine without it. Very happy with the dress. I did have a few hiccups sewing a tiered skirt for the first time. I also lost a needle, had to replace a needle for the first time, but of course all in the last 10 minutes of the sewing process, but it all ended up okay. Obviously I love this dress. So here's the process, and then you'll see a full photo of the dress. I hope you enjoy. I have completed my bodice. I am using pattern 228 from the recent book. I just purchased my book in January, or from supplement 305. I'm using this pattern here. For me personally, I brought the V down just a little bit, not a whole lot, and the fabric I'm using is see-through, so I went ahead and sewed a white cotton lining underneath. So now that the bodice is complete, I get to move on to sewing the tiered skirt. I lied. The next step is not the skirt, it is the sleeve. So I would suggest going through the book and finding a sleeve that matches what you want to use or what you want your sleeve to look like. I want mine to be long and have a little cuff using some elastic at the bottom. And so this is on page 225 of the most recent book, or supplement 311. What I'm not using that one. But I'm using the one that I found for the Princess Diana shirt. It is page 229. The book, I have no idea what year it's from. I got it off eBay, and that's why I'm not using that book for some of my videos anymore, because I can't reference what supplement it's coming from. But what I like about it is you have to gather a little bit at the top, and so I did already do a mock-up pin to my bodice. And I saw that it does fit. I have to gather it just a little bit, but keep that in mind too. Like, you want something that might have a little give to it so you can cut it off. You just don't want to choose a sleeve that's going to be too small for your armhole. So keep that in mind when picking out your sleeve. I personally chose something that was going to be long enough and also have a little gather at the top so that I had some room to work with. So on to the sleeve. There are a few different ways to sew a sleeve onto a bodice. My preferred method is to sew it while it's open like this, and then, or that's how I attach it, then sew it closed all together. So the bodice and the sleeve, the bodice side and the sleeve together all at the same time. Now for this sleeve, I am going to be putting an elastic channel at the bottom so it can be more of a gathered look at the bottom. So I will show that next. This is what sewing an elastic channel looks like. I just used an extra piece of fabric and put some elastic in. I measured, you can see my little dots of where I measured specifically from this edge to this point so I can have a straight line. Then I put the elastic in and use my ruler to have another straight line, and then I will measure it around my wrist and gather it in and sew the elastic together. But that's going to be my last step. I'm going to sew the sleeve together probably up to here, and then do this step and finish sewing it together at the end. But that's how you sew a channel for a gathered sleeve. Alright, this is where I am with the dress. I have nothing securing the back, so I'm just holding it myself. So the skirt, I didn't really think about the width of the pieces that I was using and how it would affect the look of the dress. And I think the pieces I used are way too big, or what is this? Yeah, the width of the height, whatever this part is called. This is too big. So I think I'm gonna cut these pieces in half and add some at the end and then gather them together to continue creating the gathered tier look. All right, so I have cut this section in half and added a piece to this section, and I'm going to do a long stitch and then gather it together till it reaches the size of this section. And then I'm hoping this one won't look weird, that it'll look fine. I'll find out. Would love to be lazy and not have to seam rip that apart. I don't know why I thought I wouldn't need to add extra fabric on this side, but I definitely do. I luckily have some, so I'll be okay. But once I add this, I'll start working on making more of these gathers. I'm also very worried that I don't have enough fabric for that, but I will find out. I have broken my first sewing needle. It's clearly too thick of a piece of fabric to sew. Never changed a needle before, so this will be my first time. Thankfully, my sewing machine came with some extra sewing needles, so I was able to replace this one pretty easily after watching a quick YouTube tutorial. So onward. I only have the zipper left to do, and that's of course if my bobbin thread lasts for the rest of the project. Wish me luck. I'm realizing now that I never talked about these gathers, how I made them or attached them. Basically, it's a strip of fabric, and I did the longest, or one of the longer thread sizes or stitch sizes on my sewing machine settings. Then I pull it together in a gather. Then I laid it like on the line that I wanted it to be on and just sewed it on the top there and attached it that way. That's also why I chose not to close the dress off with a zipper until the very, very end, because it was just so much easier to do it while it was just an open piece. And so that's how I attached the gathers. This is timely because the next dress I'm going to sew is going to be for her birthday dress. So a red princess birthday dress. That's the next thing I'm going to sew. So I'll see you next time.